So let's say I'm a creepy, annoying fucker at a meet or a convention, and I want to squeeze or pick up Ty here without permission because that's the kind of person that I am. There are a few things that I need to be able to do that. One, I need to be able to get underneath Ty's arms. So when I go in for a hug, I'm immediately going to try and get the space under Ty's arms to do so. If I want to pick up Ty, I need to be able to get my hips below Ty's hips. It's possible to pick her up with my hips above if I'm really strong or she's really light or really short, but it's quite hard to do so, especially if you've got just a little bit of extra height. Even if I come up to my tiptoes, it's very hard unless I get my hips mad close in.
No.
Sorry, mad close in. But most annoying creepers at a convention or a meet aren't going to be aware of doing that. But either way, again, this still requires my hips to get very close. Realistically though, I'm going to want to get my hips below Ty's and then I'm going to lift. Or, even worse, I'm going to get my hips and arms below Ty and very easily lift her. So for Ty to prevent this, assuming that I have got the space under her arms and I have my optimal position to lift, Ty is going to want to make sure that her hips remain below the level of mine at all times. So if I try and pick up Ty and I go, yeah, that's it, and that alone automatically makes it very hard, but it's still possible for me to lift if I'm savvy and I get, so relax your hips in still, so just get them low. If I get in close, I might still be able to lift Ty and be annoying, and I can still squeeze her. So the other thing that's necessary is to make sure that straight away she gets her hips far away from me. Yes, exactly. Which will prevent me from being able to squeeze. But right now, Ty's got a pretty bad arm position. Yeah, they're just flopping around all loose. So if we go back to our initial position, assuming that I've still got my optimal grips, the first thing that Ty can do once I've got here is do a thing called whizzering or overhooking, exactly, where she puts her arms over the elbows, above the elbow point here. So if you look
So
here,
show what's going on from the front
exactly.
like this.
So yeah, that's what's happening. So the arm is coming in over my elbow. If it comes under the elbow line, there's no pressure, but realistically, you're also not going to be able to do this under the elbow. So she's, yeah, there we go. And already this is putting pressure on my grip. If Ty now starts to move her hips away from me, yes, it's very difficult for me to hold on to my grip at all. But let's assume I'm still able to hold on to the grip. So just do it light and keep my grip on you and just push away a little bit. If I try and lift Ty now, even if I manage to get my hips really low, there's no way for me to get the leverage, as long as she keeps these whizzers strong. So go a little bit tighter with the whizzers. Yeah, now I'm really in trouble. My arms are elongated and I can't get good leverage with them. The further away my arms are, the longer my arms are, the harder it is for me to get leverage to lift her up. Right now, this is very uncomfortable and my grip is going. The other thing that Ty needs to be aware of is where her head is. So if I'm here, if she puts just a little bit lower, her head under the level of my head, it prevents me from being able to get in very close. So right now I've got no grip, I can't get low underneath her, and her head is preventing me from dropping down. This also means that, assuming that the whizzers are light, relax a little bit for a moment. The whizzers are very light, but her head is underneath me. If I try and drop really low, it allows her to control her positioning. I can't get underneath her hips because the whizzers are preventing me, and her head is preventing me from ever dropping myself lower than the level of her hips. Now, all she needs to do, if she wants to break away from this position, is to put that little bit of pressure just above my elbows. She can clasp her hands together in case I'm really strong, and she can push away using her hands against my chest and pushing her hips back. That's it. Now, she's already done the next step. She's literally put her hands underneath my armpits, on the chest line in her case, because I don't think she wants to touch my armpits directly.
It wasn't it's just easier.
And this has now completely taken away all of my leverage and taken me out of my annoying squeezy lifty hug. At this point, if Ty wants to get an even better position, she can swim to get her own underhook by lifting her elbow very slightly, not outwards.
Oh,
so assuming we're here and I've got the same sort of position, I'm going to lift my elbow very slightly and come in under,
I see.
or I can try and come in over and completely bump them out the way.
Okay, so yeah. I was.
So if we go
grab me
straight
again,
back to the beginning,
sorry.
we're here, clasping hands, getting head underneath my hand. Don't put your hands against me yet. Use them clasped together to keep that whizzer pressure, and now using both hands together to push against me. What I mean by that is, so say if you've got your grip.
I'm sorry.
It's all right, don't be sorry. So I can't get my head underneath tie very easily right now because my shoulder's buggered. And it's just too much pressure. But my hands here are clasped together and I'm putting my elbows in together and I'm using both hands as I push my hips back to get that space. I'm not taking my hands apart, and this will just allow me to get a little, if I take my hands apart here and put them here already, or here already, I don't get that whizzer pressure anymore. You feel right now how little pressure there is on my elbows tight? You can keep your grip, and I can't push very well. But if I come here, I clasp my hands, I put my hands against the chest, sorry, I squeeze my elbows in tight and start moving back, and that grip breaks. Then I start moving to here, or moving around to the top, moving my elbows in and pushing away. So let's do it again with you doing it. So I've got my horrible, annoying creeper grip, clasping your hands together. You're going to get your head underneath mine. Careful not to lean back as you do so. Push your hips back, push your hands into me, hands against the chest, push away, and then you can get your own dominant grips if you wish. This is really bloody useful. The other thing to remember is if you are really getting this a lot, if you get the under the arm position for your hug. So if someone comes in for a hug and you're like, oh, all right, I'll let them hug me. Now, if I try and squeeze tight, it's far easier for her to get away from me. All she has to do is just move her shoulders back a little bit. And now I can't squeeze shit. I certainly can't pick her up unless I'm ludicrously strong. And even then, it's not an easy task to do so. And this is the basic principles of leverage that will allow you to break away from someone. You can also sometimes, if you're very good, you can simply seal straight at the armpit. So say you've got a nice strong underhook on me tie and you've got your head underneath mine. You've got your hands linked together, clasped together, that's it. Sometimes I can seal straight here, hands underneath the armpits, elbows tight in, and that can be enough to break the grip and push away. But this is harder against people who are stronger than you, who've already got a good position. This is something you'd want to do at an early stage. So if they've started to come in to get their under the arm position and you know they're an arsehole, and you can get in there very quickly and put that hand in that position, getting your own elbow to seal their elbow and prevent it from getting a point of leverage. Those are some basic principles for preventing someone to pick you up